In this video, I will be unboxing a shipment of Commodore Amigas that I purchased from a general auction. I successfully obtained a total of 4 lots comprising of 7 Amigas in various states of repair. Lot 1 was for a rather mint-looking A600, and mixed spares and aftermarket accessories. Lot 2 was a more yellowed A600 with PSU, mouse and techno sound sampling cartridge. Lot 3 was a very yellow A500 with PSU mouse and external disk drive. And Lot 4 was marked only as large quantity of Amiga microcomputers and peripherals, with the caveat of not working in brackets. In the picture it looks like an A500, an A500 Plus, an A600 HD and an A1200. 4 mice, a zip drive and various cables. The machines were tested by the auction house and labelled as either working or not working, but outside of this, I don't know much more. Apart from that the auctioneer said during the auction that these lots should have been in the Friday auction, but the seller wanted them pushed into the first available auction, which was on a Wednesday. I will provide a breakdown at the end of the video on the costs for each lot, as the fees need to be factored in and can run to 30% plus over and above the hammer price. 2 large boxes arrived today weighing 38 kilos, which hopefully contain some retro gold, and not a large pile of battery damaged and corroded boards. But if they do, thank goodness PCBWay are on hand to help supply replacements. I will open each machine and inspect the main board and see what we are dealing with, and am hoping we might have an accelerator in the trapdoor of the A1200. You never know, we could get lucky. Talking of PCBWay, this video is sponsored by PCBWay, makers of prototype PCBs of all kinds. They also offer services such as PCB assembly, CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication and injection moulding. Manufacturing times are exceptionally quick and delivery is super fast, so please do check them out in the links in the description below. Luckily I have Glenn from CRG on standby to help out if needed. Make sure you check out his channel and content. What he doesn't know about Amigas isn't worth knowing. And a quick shout out to Lee from More Fun Making It, for pointing me in the direction of the auctions and for just being an all-round amazing guy. ZX Spectrums are usually more my thing, and if you like specky content, then he has loads of it. Let's get to it and open up the first box and see what we have inside. So in the first box we've got 4 Amigas which are wrapped and just off screen, and a load of peripherals. Let's just have a quick look at the peripherals. We have a very heavy and solid 3.5-inch floppy, which is nice, and it's marked on the back RF332C with a serial number, an on-off switch and cable. We have a rather chunky, what looks like a printer cable, and a little bit manky that one. We've got a collection of mice. Now I can see here straight away that we actually have a proper Commodore mouse, which is lovely to see, and that's not in bad condition. And we have a second Commodore mouse, and this one is model A600, and again another mouse, which is nice to have those. Bit yellow, that one. And we have a couple of tank mice. This one just says Commodore, but it's a tank mouse, a little bit gross. That's going to need to be stripped and cleaned. And we have another one, which again, pretty much the same thing. Rather yellow, that one. We have a printer cable, an Amiga zip drive, which has a parallel interface, parallel to serial adapter, and unfortunately this one's going to have to be taken apart because the window that sits in the top there has fallen through. And we have the power cable for the zip drive, always extremely helpful. Let me just put that to one side, and we have a very light, feels extremely empty, power supply for an A600. My God, why was it so big? I mean, it really is an absolute monster, and extremely yellow, and yes, rather manky. Right, let me just clear all of this lot out the way, and we'll get on to the actual Amigas themselves. So first up, we have the A600 HD with the not working sticker from the auction house. We'll take that off. And yeah, nice little unit, the A600. We have a floppy disk on the side. We'll open it up and have a look in a minute, but before we do that, let's check the trapdoor and see what we've got in here. We'll see if there's anything in here. We do have a card. There is a card in there. No idea what that is, but we'll open it up. I'll save you the pain of me undoing all the screws. I'll undo them and then we'll jump back. Oh, it looks pretty good to me. I've checked the caps. I can't see any caps that are leaking. A bit of corrosion around here. The shield was a bit of a bugger to get off, but you know, it seems to have more corrosion around this corner. The keyboard membrane looks in excellent condition, and I don't see any leaky caps. Now, the expansion card that was in it has a battery on it, and it's looking a little bit furry around here, so that might be a candidate for cutting that battery off as quickly as possible and then find out what options are available there. Floppy drive's okay. The hard disk wasn't even connected, so it'll be very interesting to see what's going on with that. But this one is a 527 meg, and the board itself says June Bug A600 Rev 1.3. Yeah, I don't know what else to really comment on this particular board, but it looks in reasonably good condition, to be fair. So I've desoldered the battery that was on this card. It was starting to get a little bit furry on this side, so best to take that off. Used a heat gun, and that just dropped out nicely. I've checked around the board where the battery was, and I don't see any trace damage, so I think we're good with that one. And this board has 4192 on the top left corner, and just says copyright ADD Limited on the board. So we'll I'm sure that'll be a RAM expansion of some sort, but we'll get confirmation from Glenn. I'm sure he knows exactly what that is. So moving on to the next Amiga. So next up is the A1200. You have to appreciate that I am not an Amiga expert. I've never owned my own Amiga. Well, I guess I now own 7, but I've only played on friends' Amigas in the past, so do excuse me when I'm opening these things up if I'm not completely familiar with everything that's going on inside. This one says working but software fault, so great, says it's working. Let's have a look on the back, and let's go in for the trapdoor. Second. And are we feeling lucky? Shall we have a look? It looks a little bit moth-eaten round here, so that's good. It's been opened before. And here we go. Well, we certainly do have an expansion card. We have an A1200 8 meg RAM. Let me just turn it round. Get it the right way up. So an A1200 8 meg RAM FPU clock expansion by AMI Tech, made in the UK. And it has a cell battery, so that's good. We don't have to worry about that. So let's get this one open. Well, here we are inside. The expansion card has a memory module on top, and it says M1202 issue D on the board. The hard disk is well, it's plugged in, but it's not I don't think it's, well, it's not powered, just connected. And what is it? It's, I need my glasses. It's a March 97 2110 megabytes, so 2 gig drive. Board looks good. It says it's a Channel Z. Let me zoom in. Let's zoom in on that. It is Channel Z A1200 Rev, looks like 104 or 10.4. Commodore Electronics Limited. Copyright 1992. Okay, and let's just, keyboard membrane looks in excellent condition. Keyboard's a bit yellow, but apart from that, looking good. And checking over the caps, I don't see any caps that are leaking. This one's looking in good condition. I may remove the board and we'll have a slightly closer look at this one if I can get it out. There we go. So that's the board. Obviously space for a chip in there. And the RAM expansion on the back. So there we go. So not much else to show here. I don't see any corrosion. It's looking in good condition, this one. So let's put this one back together and get rid of all the crumbs from keyboards and under people's nails and stuff. So a bit I don't particularly enjoy. We'll re-disinfect the tabletop and move on to the next machine. And here we go with number 3. So this is a A500. It's a big old lump. There's all sorts of strange stickers and stuff on this one, but it says power on, doesn't read. So let's do what we did with the others. Let's have a look in the trapdoor. Well, I assume that's a card. Looks like a wedge of cheese. Let's have a look. See if we can get that out. Well, there we are. A501 FG, I think that says. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. But this one on the bottom says it's made in Hong Kong. It is a model A500. Well, that was pretty unnecessarily difficult to get that out of the casing. So this is the casing. It has this on the bottom and this, and it's soldered together. So hot air made short work of that. But you can see corrosion inside here. It's pretty nasty, and the card itself, you can see the battery, and yeah, that has leaked all around here and is not looking good. So that battery needs to come off straight away, and this will go in the pile to look at and see if it's salvageable. But it says on here Commodore 512 KB plus RAM expansion, Rev 501 or A501 Rev 6C is what's written on that, and that's the 15th of November 1988. So a little bit sorry for itself, this expansion card. So let's get that battery off. So here we are inside. This machine is disgustingly dirty. I've hoovered it already. It was just absolutely bogging. Yeah, gonna need a tetanus after this. But looking inside, I don't see any blown caps. Nothing's leaked. There's no damage elsewhere. I notice it's 512/1 meg on the board, and only half are populated. So guess I'll be asking Glenn if I can desolder these and put them in there, which may then make it 1 meg on the board and no need for the expansion card. As I really don't know a great deal about Amigas and I'm learning as I go, I'll find out whether that's possible. But this one is disgusting and needs a complete clean from top to bottom. There's even fur under the keys in great quantity on the keyboard. It's horrid. So I'm going to wrap this one up and move on to the next one. So here's the next one, the 500 Plus. Let's hope it's not as dirty as the last one. Now, one thing I have noticed here is either this is damaged, or I think we might have the original peel. Could it? Really? Would somebody not peel the... Well, maybe. Now, this one says software failure on the sticker on the side. And turning it over, it says OK, half meg expansion. So yeah, let's get in the trap door on this one and see what we have. Well, it's half a card. I don't know about half a meg. That's a pretty small one. Let's get that one out if we can. No, that's not moving. That's not moving at all. Corroded, maybe? That's pretty tight. Right. Yeah, those pins are looking pretty green. Let's get this one out. Well, there we go. So this one says AM RAM NC issue 2. We have a little switch and three NEC chips on that board. Okay. A little bit worried about the corrosion on there being so green, but let's get it open. I'll again save you the pain of watching me unscrew it, and we'll be back in a moment. Well, when I said before there was 3 chips, I obviously can't count. There's clearly 4. Now, this board has some damage. This battery here has leaked and has made all of these pins corroded, which is why they were so green when I took the card out. So this battery needs to be removed, and we'll have a look and see what sort of damage we have. Well, unfortunately, I think this one is pretty bad. The corrosion is quite obvious. It's here, which is quite bad, and there's a load of trace damage here, extending down here and here. So I think this may need a new board and everything swapping over. I don't think it would be worth trying to repair that damage, but that'll be a project for another day. Battery's been cut out. It can't get any worse than it is. We'll put it back together and move on to the next one. So we're 4 Amigas down and we have 3 left, and we have an equally sized box to the one that we've just opened. So let's open it up and see what's inside. Okay, these are the peripherals from the second box. We have a Commander drive, external enclosure. This one says a 3.5-inch 1 megabyte external floppy disk drive. Build date 49/91/652. Goodness only knows. So yep, that's nice to have. We also have in there an Amiga 1084 ST color monitor book. We don't have the color monitor, but we have the book, which is nice. We have some joysticks. I don't think there's anything too special on this one. This is a Spectra Video. And this is a Logic 3 Attack AM. And a Stingray. Okay. We have a box of spare keys and some springs. So I guess could be useful. Very yellow, most of those. And we have this beast. It's very, very heavy. And it says on here, it is a fully tested 200 megabyte SCSI hard drive for £20. It's an absolute lump. And that's Maxtor. So there we are. And we have another manky mouse. Let me just get this one over there. And another tank mouse, Commodore, and this one's pretty disgusting. So, and the cable is pretty nasty. Right, let me get those aside and we'll have a look at the A600. But this one, there's a little twist on this one. Well, here it is, a beautiful Commodore Amiga 600. And this really is in good nick. Slight bit of yellowing on the keys here and here, but I mean, it really is in fantastic condition. But it's empty. It's just a case and keyboard and no Amiga inside. Now, I don't know if because of the state of the serial sort of label on the back, whether this is a case that's been retro-brighted, and most likely is, and will return to the nicotine yellow within no time. But nice to have a pretty much brand new looking A600 case. So I guess I've got 6.5 Amigas. So let's move on and see what else we've got. Okay, we have 2 Amigas left, and this is the remainder of the peripherals. So let's quickly zip through them. We have a printer cable, not much use. This extremely heavy floppy drive. We had one of these before. Very, very robust. Various power supplies, and my God, this one's heavy. I don't know which one this is for, but it's a Commodore power supply, exceptionally heavy compared to the empty one we had before. Other cable. We have another Commodore mouse, very nice. Got plenty of rodents. And we have another tank mouse, not too bad this one. Another power supply for the A500, and this one just feels completely empty, but we have another one. So various power supplies, and then we have a couple of cartridges. So we have the Amiga 520, which seems to have an RF, a video out, an audio in, and an RF out on the back. Okay. And we have the Techno Sound Turbo 2 instruction manual and the Turbo 2 cartridge. So, I don't quite know what it does, but if I read the book, I guess I'll find out. So that's the rest of the peripherals. Let me just clean all this up, and then 2 Amigas left to have a look at. Okay, here we go. We have another A500. And this one's got jaundice. Look at how yellow that is. Absolutely awful. Let's. This one says working, booting. We'll just take the stickers off. Let's just turn it over. And let's pop the old trap door open. see what we got going on in here. And we do have a card. Now, has it got a battery on it that's leaked everywhere? No, this one. So this one has two little memory modules. It's MP502A is written on this one. It does have a position for a battery, but there isn't one installed. And yeah, looks in good condition, that. Let's hope. Right. I can see there is a bent leg on this connector. So we'll have a closer look at that when we've opened it up. So I'm going to open it up and we'll have a look inside. So this A500 is actually in quite good condition. One of the pins here had pushed back, so I've sorted that out. And yeah, everything else is looking good. I don't see any leaking caps. There's no dodgy batteries in here destroying the board. So this one's looking pretty good, apart from it being extremely yellow. Let me just grab that A600 case. There we go. And compare it to the keyboard. It is a very, very nicotine yellow machine, but nothing a bit of retro brighting wouldn't sort out. Okay, let's get this one wrapped up and look at the last Amiga. And here it is, the last Amiga that we're looking at today. This is an A600, as it says, and we're going to have a look and see. It says working boots. I wish they wouldn't put these stickers on. Oh, well, we'll take that off another time. Right, so it says working boots. It does contain a board. So let's have a look in the trapdoor. This one says 1 meg expansion, 1 gig HDD. And maybe 2 gig, I think that says. So let's have a little looky. Okay, we have another one of these metal cases, which are an absolute pain to open. Okay. Just a slightly smaller wedge of cheese. So we'd have to desolder that to get it out and see if there's anything inside. So I'll open this one up and we'll have a look inside. Well, this one's quite nice inside, very clean. It's Junebug it says A300 Rev 1. Junebug A300 Rev 1. Copyright Commodore 1991. So, yeah, I don't know, confused. It definitely says A600 on the case. But I don't remember if the other one said A300 or not. But anyway, it's very clean. 2 joystick ports on the side. Bit of corrosion on the cap of the RF modulator, but caps are in good order. Nothing leaking. So this one's fine. No concerns there. The hard drive, this must be a proprietary connector which powers and takes the data from the hard drive, which is why the hard drive in one of the earlier ones didn't have any sort of power connector to it. But this one is a 2.167 gigabyte drive, which is nice. And I'm going to put this back together and then we might have a crack at this. I don't know on this one. It says A600 512K and A600 1 meg. And I don't know if these are jumper settings in some way where you're just jumpering between 512 and 1 meg. I'd like to have a look inside I don't know what's inside here, but I'd like to have a look inside. It should just be a memory board. Just hoping that there's no battery in here. Well, in fact, no, I won't. I don't want to ruin my metal slice of cheese. I'll pop this one back in and I'll ask Glenn and see if he knows if there is a battery inside here, and if there is, we'll open it and cut it out. But that's it. So that's all the Amigas opened and all the peripherals gone through. I need to wash my hands. Yuck. And disinfect everything again. It was yeah, some of them were pretty dirty inside. But this one's quite nice. So I'm going to put it back together and add it to the pile of Amigas.